Hello, everyone. This is Marita, one who catches lightning, with the Path of Ish podcast, Walking with Our Shadow, where we share ancient indigenous teachings of remembrance, all so we can walk and learn how to walk a path of radical self-love. Welcome, everyone, as we come together again. Another opportunity to step into circle, to step into the unknown, into a different way of being. As we welcome these opportunities to learn, we must also be cognizant of what we bring to these opportunities of learning. This truly is a cultural exchange. I have heard the use of this term lately as I sit with different elders. And it took me about 2 years to understand why they used this type of verbiage. Why 2 years? I come from traditions where knowledge is earned, where there is no timeline to finish something, especially if that something is about making you feel like you have grasped something, because these are traditions of non-grasping. Why has it taken me 40 plus years to learn many of these ways? Some of it has been because these ways have been hidden, forbidden to be shared. It was not safe. And to this day, it is not safe. Just because indigenous teachings are in style again does not mean that the dominant culture, once it changes who it is accepting in for a moment or two, it does not mean that we will be in there forever. And one of the reasons these ways do not fit into dominant culture is that they do not come from. They upset dominant culture. They challenge it. And when you challenge something that is used to grasping and being dominant, it has a tendency of not liking the loss of control. One of the other reasons it has taken so long and will continue to take long is that in every circle that I have walked into, I have been asked to leave my wisdom at the door. There are many traditions and many ways, and within each tradition and each ways, there are different levels of earning that knowledge. It is not just based on age. And I say this because these circles recognize that. They recognize that the face of an elder might appear young, or a face of a wisdom keeper might appear young. It might be younger than them, and yet they have earned it. It's a very different way of being and living. It is a respect for the unknown. It is a respect of recognizing that someone who might be younger than you, might have earned the wisdom and are walking the wisdom in a more cohesive way than you. And that is not an opportunity for you to feel shame, but to witness. The way of the circle is the way of non-attachment. And so, sitting with different elders for the last 2 or so years in different communities, along with those which I am a wisdom keeper in, and continue that long road of earning, I realized that circle these days is being very cognizant of the people and the words that come on the lips of these people and in the minds and not in the hearts. And that's why these elders have been using the term cultural exchange instead of lessons, because the Western mind automatically sees the word lesson and expects to learn in a certain way. And if the information is not given to them in bullet points or in a way that they understand, they do not like it, nor do they recognize it as wisdom. Instead, they bring in their way of being and try to take over the circle. They try to grasp and understand and win arguments. And they take things very, very personally. They step out of circleness. They do not even attempt cohesiveness. They do not come in a good way, in the way that we call a good way. Your good way might not be, I'm going to say it, good enough. And this is not from good or bad, but this is from truly recognizing that things are constantly changing and evolving. And if you are trying to grasp as a way of what you think is respectful, you have started off on the wrong foot, my friend, because you are coming to circle with your way of respect, your way of learning and earning, your way of how to be. And it is so hard for the dominant culture to recognize this and not feel shame. I say this because I am seeing it more and more, that people come into what they think is circleness, not knowing that circle will bring up all of who you are, including maybe those parts you don't like usually showing. It will bring up your arrogance, and not the arrogance of what I teach in my circles, but the arrogance of Western conditioning. It will bring up your power struggles. It will bring up your issues. You will be so condescending sometimes that your attempt to be honest and truthful cannot be hidden in your passive aggressive nature. That's right. The circle reveals everything. It reveals agendas. And everyone has an agenda. And if you add cacao to the circle, which is a heart opener, and the last time I saw opening someone's heart, as we do it medically, means cracking the ribs open, exposing your body to the elements. The last time I spoke to someone who went through a procedure like that, yes, they said it hurt. That recovery was painful. So, cacao as a heart opener added to circleness and that energy of obsidian that is in different cacaos, depending where they're coming from, definitely from the one here from Hawaii, since we have an active volcano, will reveal who you are. Leave your wisdom at the door. When some people hear that, they get really agitated. I always found it comforting. Ah, good. I can be okay with knowing that I'm not going to know. Knowing that even though I might learn something in one tradition, if it's taught one way by someone, someone else might teach it a different way, and neither is right or wrong. It's just a different way of being. And all of that is welcome. But dominant culture does not make you face yourself the way that circle does. It could never do it. It does not have the energy or the blueprint or the magic that circle has. All of those amazing teachers and coaches that come from Western worlds who teach about self development and mindfulness and all of those things, it's great, but it is still within dominant culture, the energy and its language. If you are using those tools and trying to enter into these circles, they will not work. And that is very hard for people because dominant culture expects you to know, expects you to be the expert. And then you expect yourself to be that expert in every situation, whether it is welcome or not, because Western culture does not ask. By taking the time to re-invite you to leave your wisdom at the door and recognize that when you step into this circle of this podcast, if you step into cacao circles, or if you step into jaguar tree or jaguar path of each circles, know that that is part of it. It is a welcome to leave that which you know and truly leave it outside the circle. This is not an easy task, and it will take a while to not pick up your wisdom and use it as a weapon or a shield within circle. Because circle reveals all. But circle invites all to embrace who you are, the parts that you like, the parts that you don't like. Can you start working with all of yourself, recognizing the impact your lack of cohesiveness has in the world and those around you, and most importantly, you? This invitation to a cultural exchange should let you know a little bit more what you are leaving behind and stepping into. I grew up with cultures from around the world. I've spoken a little bit about this, and I'm thankful more now every day for this, that the languages spoken around me were not primarily English. English was spoken in the classes that I took while I was in the States studying. But that was it. My environment for the first 6 years of my life included people speaking in Greek, Arabic, Russian, and all the different dialogues within that, Mandarin, different forms of Spanish from different regions, because again, not even Spanish, which is a dominant cultural language, is the same from country to country. And there was an understanding in this circle to leave your wisdom at the door, that you were welcome to be you, the most authentic you could be. And that meant, because these culture bases were different, that actually allowed them to be more themselves than most of the Americans, because they did not come from cultures of dominance or having to dominate. They do not have in their DNA manifestation of manifest destiny. That's right, the manifestation of manifest destiny, which means I can take what I want because it is my destiny and I will manifest it in any way. And it's about me. And I see manifest destiny and manifestation at play today. The amazing things of these cultural exchanges wasn't just language or food. The food was amazing. But it was also ways of exchange. I remember so many times walking into what I thought was an argument because the words were passionate and loud, and actually they were just joking, or someone was talking about how much they love them, or it was just passionate. There was no malice or bad intent behind it. There was definitely a lot of waving of hands, a lot of forebrow wiping, and it was louder than the way that I observed many American people in their discourse and exchange. It didn't make one better than the other. I say this because once you get it in that this is a cultural exchange, maybe that will help you be more open and invite you to lay your wisdom, your ways of communication, which you might not think you deem superior, but when someone else acts or speaks in a different way that you are not used to, you go to them as a litmus test of how to be in relationship. There are many ways to be in relationship. Some involve a different kind of cultural exchange. By allowing yourself the opportunity to leave your wisdom at the door, you are allowing yourself an amazing gift. And that is the right to be wrong, to make mistakes, to start again, to change course, to reimagine, reinvent. What an amazing opportunity to go from a static way of being right, of getting it right, because you think that's the honorable thing to do. These circles ask you and give you the opportunity to have the courage to be wrong. They do not expect you to know because they just asked you to leave your wisdom at the door. Henry Nouwen talks about going into the undiscovered country and how many times in our way of being in life, when we're trying to leave the old, we don't know how to walk in the new. And if we can be okay with that, the unknowing, that provides a whole new opportunity and opportunities of ways of being to open themselves to you. You cannot live in a different country, in a different way of operating with your old ways. It doesn't work. This new country, or as people calling this new earth where we're creating, which is based on indigenous teachings, you will reach a point that you need to let go. You need to face yourself. You need to detach from your fear, face your violence, claim your right to make mistakes, detach from colonized spirituality, be resolved with being unresolved. Reach that point that being means becoming, not doing. All of this and more, so you can walk yourself home and stay confused instead of stagnant. Confusion allows you to leave your wisdom at the door instead of knowing and staying in stagnation. Blessed are those that are confused. They will learn a new way. This is why, at the Path of Ish, after much conversation and meditation, we are creating an opportunity for more people to learn how to sit in circleness, to experience a cultural exchange of what it's like to sit in circle. We have weaved together from multiple traditions an invitation that we are calling the way of the feather. It is an opportunity to learn how to unlearn. And this will be that first step that you can take to really stepping into a path and into a way that you do not know. And give yourself the grace to not be perfect and to not know and to be okay if you do not understand. We will begin these teachings as an expansion to this podcast very soon. And it will be an invitation to take that next step on your journey. And this step, the way of the feather, is to leave your wisdom at the door, to let go, to acknowledge that the reason that you are here and listening and that you are seeking is you are seeking something different. So why do you want this different thing or way of being to match your life perfectly, to fit it in where you want, the way you want it, or how you think it should be done? I have been in the presence of some of the greatest teachers and healers and elders, and some of them have been younger than me. And I have seen them so disrespected to their faces because the dominant culture at its mindset is violent and destructive against that which it does not know. And I have seen people from all walks of life enter into circle and not be able to actually enter it. I say this because I know it's challenging to change. I know that if you have not learned circle from the beginning of your life and you live in a dominant culture of literally a line, you live, you do things, you accomplish things, that's your value and your worth, and then you die. That the concept of sitting with all of yourself and taking responsibility and knowing that you will never know, and knowing that it's not about your doing, but your beingness. And then that means you are always in circle every second of every day that you can, meeting yourself, your body, your mind, and your essence, and inviting them into a deep relationship of the self is not an easy way. It is not a quick way. You don't see quick measurable results, but it will provide you an opportunity to change your world, to walk a different way, not of martyrdom and righteousness, which we see a lot in, and not just in organized religion, also in non organized religion. The way of the feather is the invitation to let things go. And this is where you must begin. Then you might be ready to step into a cacao circle. Then you might be ready to step into the path of Ish, Jaguar. The path of Ish is the path of the Jaguar. It is not easy. But first, we must begin at the end of knowing, of grasping, of understanding, of feeling right, of feeling good, the end of how you create value. And so, with that invitation, we will just do a small meditation. Well, it's not small, it's a big meditation. We're asking big things. The time we will take is brief. Thank you, grandmother, for making me watch my words right now. In this big meditation, at a brief interval in time, I'm going to invite you to leave your wisdom at the door. You've heard it through this podcast. We are not going to even enter into circle. We are going to walk around circle in the directions. And when you feel ready, that you might be ready to actually leave a part, you're not going to be able to probably leave all of it. Maybe then you can start asking circle to allow you in. And if you are a student of mine, you will see how this meditation and relationship to circle is quite different. And whether you've trained with me for several years or just a few days, we are all students here, learning together. So with that, I invite you to pause, reset yourself, shake off all of everything that this has brought up, and it has been meant to bring things up. I have a relationship and have had relationships with tectonic plates moving, earthquakes. I have always been taught in a way to shake my world up, to shake things up, to move, to release, to let go. This is my circle. This is the circle that has passed down to me. This is the energía that we sit in, and invite you on this cultural exchange to shake things up and to leave your wisdom at the door. And with that, reset, pause, breathe, and let us begin with our 3 breaths. This is the practice of Ik, the 3-breath practice from the path of Ish, as we invite our mind, our body, and our essence to be present. Here we begin, in and out through the nose. Let us bring our mind into this time, into this place. In and out through the nose. Let us bring our essence into this time and place. It seems the essence wanted to jump ahead of the body. That's fine. In and out through the nose. Let us bring our body into this time and place. And thank you for that moment. Nothing was stagnant there. Thank you for mixing it up, essence, for keeping us on our toes. And so it is with that invitation of change that we approach the East, not inside of the circle, outside of the circle. And in this way, in the ways that I have been taught, the East represents water. For many, it represents water. Nothing is better than the other. One way is not right over the other. It's just a way. And if you really look at what circleness invites you to sit in, you're sitting with all of it. Whether your back is to the wind or your face is to the wind, the water behind you, the water in front of you, water and air will always be in relationship. Fire and land will be in relationship. Wind and fire will be in relationship. Fire and water will be in relationship. Circleness allows all. So it is with that pause and conscious moment of resetting that we humbly approach the East with the teachings that it has of wind or water, whatever your tradition is. And here we ask the East to help us lay our wisdom down and allow yourself to receive this blessing. Lay down the wisdom of your mind. Lay down the wisdom of your body. Lay down the wisdom of your essence and offer it to the water. And allow yourself to receive. With gratitude and thanks, we thank the East and ask to go down to the South. And with gratitude, we humbly approach the South and ask the South, from whatever tradition you come from, here we will ask fire to witness us, to help us lay our wisdom down. We ask fire for help in laying down the wisdom of our mind, laying down the wisdom of our body, laying down the wisdom of our essence. And as you give that to the fire, let the fire take it and give back to you a new way of being. And with gratitude and thanksgiving, we bow to the South and the keepers of the South, this place of the student, where we can always lay our wisdom down. And we ask to go up to the West. And as we enter the West, we know we are entering what in many traditions is the hardest or the most challenging place, the place of the shadow, the thunder people, the lightning people. And to stand in your shadow, there's no escaping it. There's no escaping you. It's an opportunity to welcome yourself. So we turn and face the West. We're still outside the circle. We're just walking around it. And we ask the guardians of the West, the thunder people, the lightning people, air, wind, communication, storms. This is the place of pressure. It's also the place of gathering. You gather what you planted in the East, what grew in the South, and now you are preparing to enter the place of timelessness in the North. And so we ask the West, with great humility, and the guardians of the West, to help us lay down the wisdom and the shadow of our mind, to lay down the wisdom and the shadow of our body, to lay down the wisdom and the shadow of our essence, and allow yourself to receive back that change of pressure in your system. With gratitude and thanksgiving, we bow to the keepers of the West. We ask to enter and walk towards the north, and we walk up to the north with gratitude, grace, and thanksgiving, bowing to the north and the keepers of this north, the place of the elders of wisdom, of land, of earth, of timelessness. And we humbly ask to lay our wisdom down, to lay and leave it at the door. We ask Earth, who knows how to create from nothing, who is constantly changing and has seen more births and more deaths of all of its beingness than you will have experienced as an earthly human. We bow to that wisdom that knows how to let go, how to shake things up, how to let things grow, how to unroot them, and ask for help to lay the wisdom of our mind, to leave it at that door. In and out through the nose, asking the north to hold us as we let go and lay down our wisdom of body, and feel how that feels, how it feels here different in the north, laying your wisdom down of your mind, your body. And now we ask the north to help us lay the wisdom of our essence down here. This is the place of essence birth, rebirth. This is the thing. If you have lived many lifetimes, know that the knowledge of your past lifetimes or how things function does not work in this world now, in this timeline. And many times that is the hardest thing to let down, because we want to learn, we want to be full, we want to be seen as knowing these things. And when our lifetimes have that knowledge, it is hard to understand that the way things worked in other times and dimension and space do not work here right now, and that is okay. There we go. Lay it down. For some, this will be easy. For some, this will be a lifelong process. So we allow the north to hold this for us. With gratitude, grace, and thanksgiving, we bow to the keepers of the north and ask to walk down to the east again. And here at the east, we complete the circle, the opportunity of this cultural exchange, this invitation. And now, if you feel like you truly left your wisdom at the door, we humbly ask the East to let us enter into the circle. And as you enter into that circle with your wisdom at that door, ask the East to be your gatekeeper. Don't go running out and try to get it again. And we ask all of the elements in circle to help us and sit with us in our unease, in our confusion, in all that rises up in our body, our mind, and our essence. And we ask the circle that in its grace and in its wisdom, may it today exchange with us a new level of circleness that we have never experienced before, a new invitation to let things go, to start again, to not know. And with that, we bow to circle, all the elements, all the directions. I bow to my teachers, who for all my life, in this lifetime and others, have asked me to leave my wisdom at the door. And with that, we step out of the circle, walking around it again, exiting the east, closing the circle, and giving gratitude and thanks for this opportunity, this invitation of a cultural exchange and an invitation to stay curious. And this new way that is being woven over at the path of Ish, being birthed as we speak. Stay tuned for more of the way of the feather, the first step in getting into a jaguar circle. And I thank all my teachers, all their wisdom, all their ways, and for the beings in my life, and for my students, for everyone who has sat in one of my circles. I am always learning from you, because that's what circle teaches us. We are all students. And with that, Shade, may you have a blessed week. And I hope to see you in a circle soon. Once again, it is with deepest gratitude that I bow to you for joining me on this podcast, this episode, this circle, this plática, this meditation, this remembering. I hope that you have stayed curious. I hope to see you in the circle again next week. So make sure that you like or follow. Until then, may you be blessed with abundance of peace and radical self-love.